Oh yeah, it's me again. It's Greggatron. Let me say that with my chest a little bit. I said it's Greggatron. Alright, this video is about the whole step parent slash step child dynamic. Why it's good, why it's bad, everything in between. It's really not good, but let's get into that a little bit. So, first of all, before these kids are born, these parents have no clue, like no concept of maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It's like when they're having sex, it's strictly out of sex. It's got nothing to do with quote unquote love. I want to be with this person. I see this woman as a decent mother. I see this man as a decent father. He'll provide. They don't look at any of that. It's just, I'm going to get a little vulgar in this one. It's just a nut. Like, that's all it is. And nothing else. And then after the deed is done, they come to their senses. And they wake up. The man, he'll come to his senses immediately. But the woman, she'll like try to cuddle and all that stuff. And even then, she sometimes wants him to like stick around and do pillow talk. But the man, he just comes to his senses like, oh, it's time for me to go. And she knows this, yet she keeps doing it. She knows it was just a nut to him, but her emotions won't let that be the case. She'll somehow want more out of it, knowing it's not the case. Y'all are just in lust. Don't get it twisted. It's, I'd say 99% lust. Anyway, fast forward. A kid is born. And before I even get to that, why do women knowingly know this guy's a scumbag in her bed, knowing that she not only lays down on her back, but she allows this dude to explode deep inside with no condom, no protection, no birth control, no morning after pill. She knows all this. She knows enough about this guy because I said earlier, yeah, it's just a nut, but he ain't no stranger. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes to the man. You know you don't even like this woman. You know you want her only for the sex. You don't see her as a keeper. You wouldn't introduce her to your parents. You don't want to marry her. You don't want to start a family with her. You like my shirt, by the way. Knowing all these things about her, you see red flags. Knowing it's just a nut. And you actually explode deep inside those sweet walls. Like, I was talking to my buddy about this weeks ago. I'm like, why do they do it? Why do they explode deep inside? And why do the women allow it with no protection? And when this woman gets pregnant, they just act like, what? You're pregnant? How did that happen? What do you mean, how did it happen? Do y'all not know how women get pregnant? Do you not know where babies come from? They act so surprised. I was talking to a friend at the college I went to years ago. She was pregnant. And I was like, you see that coming? Or was that expected? Or something like that, I said. She's like, well, she was kind of funny. She said she told her boyfriend. And he's like, that's what happens when you juicing. We knew what we was doing. That's what happens when you're riding that donkey. I'm like, what? What? That's what happens when you're riding that donkey. But it's like she knew what she was doing, and so did he. So like, but anyway, okay. So the kid's born, and the parents still don't want to stay together. All hell breaks loose. They separate. They break up. Now they have a new spouse, the step parent, and that's where everything changes. So the mom, what she'll do is she'll tell the new boyfriend, "Oh, my ex was such a scumbag. He was a dirtbag. He did me wrong and all this." But I'm looking like, wait a minute, female dog. Wait a minute. You're telling the new guy how awful the old guy was. That's a setup. For one, it's a control tactic. It's for her to try to mold him into the perfect boyfriend. And some men support that, like, well, I don't want to make the same mistakes he made. First of all, you shouldn't be dating a woman with a kid. Second of all, you shouldn't even be letting her talk to you about the ex. Because now you have a preconceived notion of what he did, but you didn't hear his side of the story at all. Furthermore, now you have a damsel in distress complex, meaning you're going to try to save her. You're going to feel sorry for her. And you're going to treat her now like she's a perfect angel. Oh, baby, you're so perfect. You're so wonderful. I promise not to do you the way Tyrone did. But you don't even know Tyrone. Like, Tyrone could be a decent guy. Or half decent, I don't know. But I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. Because it takes two to tangle. So now you're going to be pretty much walking on eggshells. So you don't make the same mistakes Tyrone made. Without even having a conversation with Tyrone or any of that. So let's get this straight. It was just a nut from both sides. A kid's born. She says she was abused and all that. You don't know the other side of the story. She comes off as a perfect angel, knowing that she's not. And now you have a save-a-hoe complex. You cannot save these hoes. I was taught this. Somebody told me, Greg, you cannot save these hoes. And it's true. Well, now, fast forward, there's this kid, and the kid's gonna say, you're not even my dad. You're not my dad. And kids say that because kids are real honest. And they're not saying it to be mean or malicious, but kids really do want their real parents. Like, a little kid doesn't understand, how come these kids at my school have dads and I don't? But they all yearn for the father. They want that. They want a normal family. And it's already hard enough to raise kids with the two parents. Well, now you got the step-parent dynamic. And here's the real problem. So now, because the mom lied about the real dad, now the dad in the future wants to, change his life around and do better. Now he wants to be in his child's life because that kid is a part of him, right? But thanks to the stepdad, he won't allow that to happen. And I know people who are in these type of relationships. The stepdad won't allow the child to get to know the real dad. But why is that the kid's fault? You know what I'm saying? It's the woman's fault and the original dad's fault. They're the one who laid down and made this baby. And now it's like the stepdad has to pick up the puzzle pieces. and make up for their mistakes. But honestly, that's not his job, though. Like, yeah, you might have fallen in love, quote unquote, with this woman, but now you have to deal with everything that comes with it. You have to deal with this woman, you have to deal with the kid or kids, and now you got to deal with there might be more than one baby dad, depending on the situation. So that's why I say don't even start it. Because on top of that, you might be a wholesome dude. I'm talking to the stepdad. You might be a decent, wholesome dude, and now you're attached to this kid. And with that attachment, now it's going to be hard to separate. Now, let's say you and the mom want to break up. You couldn't break up with that woman even if you tried, because you're locked in, not just because of her, but because you love this kid too. But that's my point. How do you think the actual father feels being separated from his own child? So now this kid has to go through two different separations, a real dad and a stepdad. What I'm saying is it's just a mess. Don't do it. It's psychologically distraughtful, emotionally. You got finances. And in some cases, well, that's a different topic. I was going to say, in some cases, if you sign the birth certificate and if you're not even the dad, well, now legally you're the dad, but that's a different topic. But yeah, the kids will suffer. And it's harder and harder to dig that kid out of that suffering. Because, like I said, kids don't understand stuff that complex. All a kid knows is he wants to play, he wants to read, he wants to walk the dog, he wants to have a family. Every kid wants to have a family. You know what I'm saying? And kids do want their real parents. So I would only recommend you date a woman with kids if, one, the kids are grown, or if the woman's husband passed away. That's the only thing. Because if you do it the way I mentioned earlier, you're going to have hell to pay. Because there's fathers out there who want to give their kids Christmas presents, but the mom won't allow it, neither will the stepdad. So now that kid is missing out on a part of his or herself. You're missing out on your own father. And yeah, your father could have... We're all stupid when we're young and dumb. But this man could be trying to better himself. And y'all are denying a father opportunity to spend time with his own child. And to me, that's wrong. Like, the adults should have enough sense to say, you know what? You two were young and dumb in the past. Now I'm here. Let's do what's the best for the kid. But instead, all three sides, all three parties are nasty towards one another. And it's not about what's best for the kid. It's about ego, basically. It's about saying, well, I'm the most important parent. You're not in this picture anymore. But the only thing it does is rob the child. And I just don't think that's right. Not at all. So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about the damsel in distress complex? Because again, she won't tell you what she did. And as a man, why would you want to get with a woman who you knew was letting this dude explode deep inside all those times? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But he might think, well, I can't find anything better. Like, dude, you can find the same exact woman with no kids. It can be done. Now, if you have kids of your own, let's say you have 2 kids, she has 2 kids. Now y'all are more compatible, equally yoked, I guess. But whatever. What do I know? You know, people tell me at work, Greg, you don't have any kids. You can't speak on this, because people ask me advice on stuff, and I say similar things to what I'm telling you guys. And they say, Greg, well, you don't have kids. You're not married. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, why do I have to be married to have common sense? Like, this person asked me for my advice. I didn't just jump in and start, blabbering. No. These people ask me stuff, and I tell them. What kind of thing is that to say? You're not married. You can't speak on this. Was God married? Was his son Christ married? Was Paul married? Anyway, this video is long again. I'm sorry. Peace.